Welcome to BitBoy Crypto.
We can't let anybody else find out who we are. My eyes are up here. I personally would not advise that strategy. Yeah. Bugs Bunny or Tweety Bird, how to make money in crypto.
Oh, you're killing me.
So, my name is Ben. My mission is to empower you to find financial freedom through crypto assets. If that sounds good, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the little bell for notifications. Man, it feels like we're really in it right now, doesn't it? It feels like we are really in a super pivotal, crucial time. I know people on YouTube use those words a lot, but I think the next few days are going to be the days that tell the tale of what is happening right now in crypto. Are we bearish? Are we bullish? No one seems to know. I think that's a strong indicator that, we're heading into confusing times. But I think we're going to be heading out of those times here shortly. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin. Look, Bitcoin up today, big, right? We did this show yesterday. We say, market's terrible. And then right after we get off the show, everything starts pumping. We looked a few days ago at an article on Cointelegraph that explained that the $33,000 line of support was extremely pivotal for Bitcoin. It went down to that 33 level and it bounced up. I was watching yesterday on Crypto Banner, saw Gareth Soloway, who's on Around the Blockchain quite a bit, basically draw some lines down showing the comparison between this crash and then the summer crash, and basically showing how 33K should be the bottom for this crash. I'm not convinced by any stretch of the imagination. We got some of the biggest studiers and proponents of the Bitcoin 4-year cycle saying it's 50-50 right now. And we're going to be taking a look at that as we examine a Bob Lucas tweet thread, which is absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait to get into that. We got so much good stuff to get into today. You guys know we come to you live every single day at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today is Tuesday, January 25th. 69 in here. 69 degrees. 69K top for Bitcoin? I don't know. Lambo order back on schedule for Dapper Crypto. Ben lost weight. Looking good, my man. Well, I don't know. On Twitter, everybody thinks that my blood runs of sugar. Yeah, I eat those Twitter accounts for breakfast. That's why I'm always hungry. No sustenance. Yeah, cotton candy shirt makes you hungry. Well, this is tie-dye. I don't know if this is cotton candy. I don't know if we get into that yellow cotton candy looking like yellow snow. I'm not too into that.
I was going to say, that'd be some sketchy looking cotton candy.
It will be. Guys, we got a big show today. I got to get off at right at 12:30 because I've got a Cheddar TV interview. If you got Cheddar TV on DirecTV or you stream on their platforms, make sure to check out my interview there at 12:40. And then I've got a really big debate with a Bitcoin maxi. We're going to be doing it on Twitter Spaces and as well through Bitcoin Magazine. So you guys make sure to check that out. That is going to be at 1 o'clock. So we've got a really busy day today. So let's go ahead and get started here on Crypto Watch. Let's start by looking at the overall markets. We have on CoinMarketCap, or excuse me, the market cap on CoinGecko, $1.75 trillion, up 5.6%. The volume's not really that high to justify that kind of move, though, $112 billion. They got Bitcoin dominance a shade under 40%. CoinMarketCap has got it a shade over 40%. All right, looking at the overall prices here, we got Bitcoin almost at $37,000. You can't shake a stick at hospitality, they say. So welcome at $37,000 Bitcoin. I know I certainly would. 7% gain. But you guys remember how Bitcoin lulls us to sleep, right? Bitcoin gets us to where all of a sudden we're excited about extremely low numbers. We're excited about a $37,000 Bitcoin, and that is really troubling. Still down 12.8% for the week. Ethereum down 25% for the week almost, but a 7% bounce back to 2450, looking respectable. Are we aligned for the $2,500 ETH by Valentine's Day? That is a great question. You're a true OG of the channel if you remember that. Cardano coming in at $1.04. Somebody said, hey, you think Cardano could drop to 50 cents if this truly does go to a bear market? I think it dropped to 25 cents in a bear market. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think that it certainly could. I'm not saying it will. It all depends on how low Bitcoin goes. I mean, if Bitcoin were to bottom out at 24K, we're not going to see massive corrections for a lot of these altcoins. We will see further dives. But you guys got to remember, any numbers on the table when we're looking at a bear market. Solana down 32% for the week. Cardano 34%, XRP 60 cents. I mean, it is getting absolutely pounded. Everything is right now. Over the last 24 hours, this is why we don't like CoinGecko as much. I got SafeMoon on here. Up 232%. Ignore that. Pocket Network. Don't know much about that. We got Loopring, Phantom with some respectable numbers. Curve token, you guys know it was down 50% for the week, a 17% bounce back. Basically propelled it, deleted 13% of its losses. Secret bouncing back. Thorchain, Avalanche. They got a little indicator here showing what coins are a buy. I thought was very fascinating. Showing CRO. We're going to look at some, some coins here in a second that, that kind of we'll see something similar with. What we had on crypto Twitter yesterday was very fun, right? We had McDonald's jumping on the Bitcoin meme wagon. We're going to try to interview maybe the CEO of McDonald's. That would be fun. I'm going to reach out to him and see what happens. But this was pretty fascinating. McDonald's jumps on Bitcoin meme bandwagon. It all started with, how are you doing, people who run crypto Twitter accounts? So shows obviously Plan B here with, the McDonald's logo for the Bitcoin chart. We've got Najib Bukele, the president of El Salvador. He's the president, right? That's his president of El Salvador. Now he is working for McDonald's, as you guys can see. I thought it was pretty funny. Binance responds with just this. This is like one of my favorite memes ever in crypto. I love this meme. I'm only here for the tech, right? I don't care if prices go up. It applies in so many different situations. Should I quit my job at McDonald's and open a Bitcoin burger joint? 86% of people said yes. Then we had Elon Musk jumping on this, going to bat for Dogecoin again, saying, I will eat a Happy Meal on TV if Bitcoin accepts Dogecoin.
If McDonald's accepts Dogecoin.
Yeah, if McDonald's accepts Dogecoin. So I don't think that's really that appealing for him to eat a Happy Meal.
I was going to say.
What kind of Happy Meal do you think Elon Musk gets? 4-piece nug?
I didn't even know there was different types, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm not sure what kind of, looks like a sweet and sour sauce kind of guy. I don't know. It looks a little fruity, a little pineapple-y, I think. Then I, of course, tweeted, right? Because McDonald's was my first job. If you think crypto is hard, you should have seen running the drive-thru when Beanie Babies were the Happy Meal toy in 1998. You wouldn't have survived. People would literally, you could only get 10 at a time. So they would literally line up in the line and go around all day long to get those little baby Tabasco, the Bulls. So, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter. We do have, we're approaching 800,000 here. I've been lighting them up on Twitter the last 24 hours, for sure. Someone, you wasted your $2 American there, Mark Lee, you idiot. So go ahead and get out of my chat, please. We got, our meet and greet in Texas. We got over 500 people signed up for that. Go tell all those, hateful Twitter accounts they couldn't draw 7 people, at a Chuck E. Cheese. So, or what is a better place for Chuck E. Cheese? You couldn't draw 7 people at a strip club there, buds. So quit riding on my clout. They love my clout so much over there. They can't help it. But anyways, this is going to be really exciting to see this this meetup. We love our people. We love when they come out. Another big exciting announcement for the channel, Michael Saylor coming back for another 1-hour interview. So we're going to have Michael Saylor on around the middle of February. When I get back from the Super Bowl, it will be a pre-recorded video. You guys can see, you're going to see much less pre-recorded videos on this channel. We're going to really work on improving the quality of those drastically, and they're going to be fewer and further between. So when you guys see those big primetime videos, they're either a big interview or a super high quality video. So get ready for that. Speaking of altcoins here, as we're looking at the market, altcoins, if you look at the chart of the market cap of altcoins and the Bitcoin trading volumes for USDT ratio, you can see that a bullish Harami, not Harambe, that propelled the Cincinnati Bengals to a win. This is a bullish Harami candlestick pattern. It may form after that. Altcoins can bounce to the resistance levels marked on the chart. There's a very high probability the price will give up these levels, and the downtrend in altcoins will continue after Bitcoin. So basically, we're just waiting to see what happens with Bitcoin. I thought this was interesting here. This is on Santiment. These are projects that they consider to be strong and oversold. So they're oversold right now, but they're heading in the right direction. A lot of strong trading action, strong fundamentals. We've got Smooth Love Potion, SLP, a project we talked about years ago. Then we got Polygon, Uniswap, and Chainlink. And then, of course, we don't really get into these meme coins here. But I thought this was pretty significant. We have Polygon, Uniswap, and Chainlink here, all really, really great projects. Kind of just looking at the market right now, what's going on. We're going to talk to Frankie Candles here in just a second. But are we going to repeat the same pattern? Basically, this right here, I'm not going to go too much into it because we're running out of time on this segment. But the long and the short of it is we are looking at very similar movement to what we saw at the end of the last crash as it bounced back. But that doesn't mean it's going to bounce back. Remember that. We are seeing a lot of similarities. And I thought this was very significant here. We got miners not moving their coins. This is a true sign of capitulation. When miners start selling coins, you're looking at capitulation or you're looking at extreme profit taking. Right now, the movement for the miner coins is not significantly, it's just not very significant now. So that's probably good news that, I don't know, maybe we're going to see some stability here. So let's go ahead and jump in to talk to Frankie Candles here.
Sure. Let's bring Frank in here. Frank, can you hear us?
Yeah, what's going on, Ben, TJ? What's going on, BitSquad? I hope you guys are having a good day.
How's the weather there?
How's
the weather where you're at?
It's a little cold, It's a little cold in New York. But yeah, no, today we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin price, where we think it might go. And then I do want to bring up a pattern that I believe Benjamin Cowan just released a video.
Oh, nice.
Bringing up a pattern that I find very intriguing. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. But yes, pivotal moment indeed. But let me just mute this real quick. Sorry. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm having technical difficulties.
Yeah,
I'm getting an echo, but
yeah, you were. It's very hard to talk when you can hear yourself coming through more than once. You hear yourself on a delay. It's almost impossible to get your words out. So.
Oh, God, it is so shockingly hard. All right, I'm going to try to work through it here. But yeah, I do want to bring up a pattern that Benjamin Cowan, I saw him bring it up, and I thought it was very interesting because when you compare it, that basic TA with the market Cipher TA, it does look like things might be lining up. But looking at Bitcoin here on the daily, still kind of in this falling wedge. We did get a little bit, we got that nice relief bounce yesterday, which was, felt good after, all of this horrible pain. So that did feel good. But let me just bring up real quick these patterns that I see here. So they're called flat corrections. But basically what it is, you come up into like in a parabolic move, you come up, get rejected, get your first bounce here, back up, rejected once again before a big move up. Unfortunately, so there are three different types. There's a regular, an expanded, and a running flat. This regular flat is not in play because we did make a higher high here, right? So that is not going to play out. That has been broken by this higher high. But if you take a look at the expanded flat, you see it's kind of the same thing. You come up, you get rejected, you get that first bounce, and then you get a higher high before you're rejected back down to make a lower low. Now, this is interesting. This might not play out. We're not sure. We're gonna have to let time tell here because we have not made a lower low yet here from the summer. So in order for that one to play out, we would have to come below these summer lows right here. Now, if you look at the last one here, which I find very interesting, and I'll talk about it real quick. The running flat, you come up, you get rejected, come back, come up, create that newer high, and then you come up for a higher low before moving up. Now, this could be a little bit of hopium. Obviously, we are, as Ben said, at a very pivotal moment. So, you do want to be ready for anything to happen. We could come down, but I did think this was very interesting. So, you come in, you get the rejection, you come down, you get the bounce, and now we are coming here for this higher low. And the reason that I'm kind of excited about this higher low right here, let me just circle it for you real quick. This higher low, kind of making this trend line coming up like that. Now, this is exciting because if you do look at Market Cipher B, if you look at the RSIs here, and we will be going, in depth on Market Cipher on the BitBoy Crypto Trading channel. But if you look at the RSIs here, you see how low they are. This is basically as low as they have come from, the last time we were that low. I actually think we might be a little lower over here, but in the summer dump right here, that was the last time we saw the RSIs come down that low. So, could it be a bottom? Possibly. You want to protect yourself. Nothing is 100%, but this does kind of have me a little bit excited. You got the RSI super low, and you do, maybe we come in for that, running flat pattern, and we make that higher low, and we come up from here. Nothing's 100%, but definitely a possibility. I thought that was very interesting.
Yep, that looks like some really good analysis. I think gives us some hope. I think it's about 50-50 right now, maybe 75-25. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
I would agree.
So thanks for joining us, Frank. That was really good analysis.
Of course. Thank you. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, Frankie Candles, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to head on over to the BitBoy Crypto YouTube channel. You can scroll down and you can find the section where we have all of our other channels listed. You guys can subscribe to Frankie Candles. Probably going to be changing the name of that channel, just Frankie Candles, here pretty soon. So you guys make sure to go check that out. Really, really exciting stuff. I mean, look, but here's the thing. Like, you got to remember, Benjamin Cowan found this pattern, hey, here's a pattern. That doesn't mean it's going to play out like that. I think you have to understand that. That does not mean that it is going to play out in that exact fashion. If it could, that's great. It's just like when you find Elliott wave theory, you find the Elliott waves, you get 4 of them, you think the 5th one is coming. Doesn't always mean it's coming. This is the thing about trading that makes it so difficult. You're always going to find outliers. It's very similar. I always talk about sports betting. It's very similar to sports betting. You can look at trends. You can be like, this team has won 8 out of 9 games in this exact kind of situation, whether it's as an underdog on the road or whatever the case may be. But every single individual game has got to play out. Same thing with the crypto trading. We can have all the indications, all the percentages on our side, and then things can go drastically different. And here is the main thing from a macro perspective we are looking at that could be changing the game. This Fed meeting. This Fed meeting, it's actually going on today and tomorrow. We get the comments on it tomorrow. So what are people expecting? Of course, we had Bitcoin holding on to 10% gains ahead of crucial rate hike comments. I think this is really pivotal because we got to find out what it's going to do after these comments. And I think these comments are going to be the defining mark of this time in crypto. It's going to be the defining mark of this next few weeks, this next few months. Are we going down? Are we going up? Well, let's check out what's going on with Fed rate hikes here. Okay, this is actually Wikipedia. Me and TJ were talking about this morning because it seems like they're always, lowering rates or, they're never really increasing rates, but that's actually not true at all. Here we go. We go and we look down here at the list of Fed movements. You guys can see here this key. It's easing, no change, tightening, or intermeeting action here. And you guys can see here, look at these rates. You guys can see in between, if you go back to the financial crisis here from 2008 to 2011, they didn't really change the rates very much. You can see 0.75%, barely, almost non-existent rate. They were talking about going backwards, negative interest rates. You guys can see from 2011 to 2018 here, or 2019, they were steadily increasing these rates all the way up to 2.25%. This is the federal funds rate. This is the discount rate over here. So basically for a period of 3 years, they were steadily increasing these rates. Now, then all of a sudden, what happened? We had them start pulling back on rates. And it's weird, as that happened, all of a sudden the pandemic hits. And you see, since the pandemic, they had not moved anything. So this would be a big move if they did, in fact, increase these rates. But it is certainly something that they can do. Omar from Crypto's News over here, OG crypto YouTuber, says, poll of the day, will the Fed say something during this week's Fed meeting that will reverse the market sentiment? And he says 31.5% of people say yes, there's going to be a rate hike delay. 13% say yes, there will be a quantitative tightening delay, which basically, this would be the same result here. So you're looking at almost 50% of people, 44.5% of people think that we are getting something that's going to change this. And I just don't know if this is because of the bullish bias, right? Do we have the bullish bias? This is what we're expecting. 31.5% believe that no, tightening reaffirmed. And this is where I stand. I believe this is what we're going to get. And this person agrees with me. The Fed is likely to signal a March interest rate hike that further policy tightening is coming. Now, I want to be very clear. If we don't get this, then there's a decent chance that maybe we do go back up on another bullish run. If this is not the scenario we're looking at. So, but you gotta also be weighing out like, look, it's going to be great for us in the short term, but eventually this chicken is coming home to roost. So, and by the way, guys, do us a favor, make sure to hit that like button for us. Number one thing you can do as a member of the Bit Squad, make sure to hit that like button. It helps more people to come into this video and learn about crypto. If you're watching on mobile chat, hit X out of the live chat, hit the like button, and then come back in. If you're watching on a smart TV, bottom left-hand corner of your screen, you'll see 3 little dots. Hit those. It'll say more actions, more options. Hit react, and then like this video. Number one thing you can do. Yeah, a lot of people say that when I'm bearish, that means we go up. I don't know how in the world people come to believe that, because I haven't been bearish during the entire bull run and it went up and it went down. I don't think you can use my sentiment as an indicator. Kind of low IQ stuff, but that's okay. Don't worry. You can take a class and, maybe you can get your IQ points up there, sir. So anyways, here's some comments from this article. Federal Reserve is expected to say this week if it's moving on with interest rate hikes and considering other policy tightening. It begins its 2-day meeting. We already talked about that. We don't expect them to sound dovish, okay? Now, dovish would mean that they are going to be not doing a rate hike, okay? This is Mark Cabana, head of U.S. short rate strategy at Bank of America. But we don't think the Fed is going to come out and tell the markets it's wrong for pricing in 4 rate hikes this year. Now we're getting to a little more nuance here on what we could be seeing. The Fed has found itself, I like this is comedy here. The Fed has found itself in its first major battle with inflation in decades.
I literally laughed
hilarious.
out loud when you read that this morning. It's been in a battle with inflation almost its entire existence. It's a joke.
Stock market sell-offs, if anything, has made the Fed's job more difficult. Of course, we have Russia threatening military action against Ukraine as well. Very interesting. I think a lot of times if we saw stuff like this, I would say, well, this could be a distraction or maybe a change in plan to do something different. Russia's a wild card. They're not going to be complicit in any American plans to do anything. So I think all that stuff we're looking at in Ukraine is very real. We'll talk about Russia a little bit more in a little bit. They're discussing paring back $9 trillion in the balance sheet. They're also going to be ending their asset purchase program, which has been the primary contributor to the size of the balance sheet. The fact that they're talking about reducing the balance sheet at the same time they're still adding to it is a bit inconsistent. Who would have thought the government would be inconsistent? Swank said, and this is Swank is, maybe I should tell you who this person is before we get into that quote. This is Diane Swank, the chief economist at Grant Thornton. So Swank said there is a debate within the Fed about how aggressive they should get with rate hikes. Some market pros speculate the Fed could move out quickly out of the gate with half a percentage point rate hike in March, though the consensus is a 1/4 point hike. Generally, what we've seen from them is 1/4 points at a time. If you go and check out that Wikipedia graph here, 70 to 80% of the sell-offs in stocks that we've seen is due to the Fed's move towards tighter policy, which we'll move to stocks here in a second. It was telling to me this is a market that was addicted to the Fed put in the belief the Fed always has your back. I just thought that was, unbelievable here, that we would think the Fed has our back. We ought to stabilize here. Now, this is really interesting. This is probably the most fascinating paragraph of this entire article. We ought to stabilize in here. I don't think there's much Jerome Powell can say here that's going to make things worse. Starting balance sheet reduction is under consideration, and the real doves said we've got to get started. Inflation is now a problem. The market's going to stabilize because the growth outlook is not deteriorating. So very interesting. We've got to see what happens here with this. Is it possible that regardless of what they say, we've already bottomed out in sentiment when it comes to what's coming? I tend to think that that's not true. I tend to believe that this can get a lot worse. That's just my personal feeling on it. You know, and let me tell you why. The fact that almost half the people on that Twitter poll feel like they're going to reverse what they've said tells me that if they don't reverse what they said, it's going to be real bad. That's my general feeling here. So moving on to the stock market here, I thought this was extremely fascinating. This is from Holger Zipich. Just to put things into perspective, NASDAQ days like Monday were common during the dot-com crash. NASDAQ 100 hasn't wiped out loss of almost 5% since early 2001. There's my guy, It's the Boss. He says, I'm staying through the bear market with you. Well, thank you so much. You guys, the Bit Squad, y'all are certainly welcome to stay as long as you like. Late day rally, latest lurch in volatile market this year, BBG data highlight. So here's the point. And just so you know what an intraday loss is, this means the biggest loss during the day. So it did bounce back a little bit at the end of the day. But check this out. This is 2022. We haven't seen anything like this since 2008. This was the 2008 financial crisis. 3 days where there were intraday losses of almost 5% or between 4 and 5%. Then you got to go back. All of these are the dot-com crisis.
Well,
go ahead.
No, one little thing I wanted to mention too, when you were talking about things getting worse, like the bad day kind of kicked things off right there in 2008. Most of the pain was actually felt 2009, 2010.
Absolutely.
You know, long way to fall from that first day.
Well, it's a lot of reverberations.
Yeah.
It's a rock in a pond with ripples. And though to get to the small business owner and the individual, it takes a while before they feel that. I mean, look, how many times have we been talking about supply chain issues? How we were talking about supply chain issues in the summer of 2020, but when did we start feeling it?
Yeah.
Not until 2021. And now it's exacerbated to the point where, you know, you go to the grocery store and you're like, they don't have cream cheese? What? That happened to me actually in Florida. They had a cream cheese shortage. I had a bagel. Really needed that cream cheese on that bagel. I had to settle for jalapeno. That's the only cream cheese they had. But anyways, the point here is this. I just want us to be as clear as possible. Every single one of these dates was in the middle of a gigantic financial crisis. At the beginning or in the middle of a gigantic financial crisis, okay? These in the beginning in 2008, and then 2000, this was the entire dot-com crash. So this is either an outlier, what we just experienced, or this truly is a sign of things to come. And they're not great when it comes to the larger economy. This is from Will Clement, one of those few Bitcoin guys that we actually like. He says Bitcoin in orange, NASDAQ in blue. So this is pretty interesting. I mean, look, guys, we did have, as of yesterday, and this is kind of similar to what we saw in the pandemic. Now, this is a one-day chart. Okay, this is a one-day chart. If you look back at what occurred when the pandemic began, pretty similar. Bitcoin plummeted quick, bounced back fierce. Stock market took a little bit longer to plummet and did not bounce back quite as much. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So let's move on. Let's check out some Bitcoin indicators that you guys can use to try to judge where we're at in this market. This is the rainbow chart. You know, we haven't talked about this one on the channel a lot. We talked about stock to flow forever. But this is one that a lot of people really like. So this is the rainbow chart is meant to be a fun way of looking at long-term price movements, disregarding the daily volatility noise. The color bands follow a logarithmic regression introduced by Bitcoin talk user Trololo, but are otherwise completely arbitrary and without any scientific basis. We'll never change them, though. In other words, it will only be correct until one day it isn't anymore. And it's something very similar to what we saw from the stock to flow chart. It is a little more thought maybe put into that one, but you guys can see here it goes like this. Maximum bubble territory is in the red. The lighter red, sell, seriously sell. Orange is FOMO intensifies. Yellow or orangish yellow is that a bubble. Yellow hodl. Green still cheap. Darker green accumulate. Bluish green buy, and then basically a fire sale. And you can see in the history of Bitcoin, it's only slightly wicked below the blue line a few times. Now, a couple things jump out to me when I look at this chart, okay? Number one, look at the peaks here. We got the peaks back here. This would have been on April 12th, 2013. it went above the rainbow chart. Now look over here in 2017. This would have been June. Let's see here. I don't know if that's exactly right. It says, yeah, there it is. 12/12/2017. Maximum bubble territory, daily close, $18,300. Okay. Now notice how it bounces off of the red and comes down. So are we basically seeing here with these Bitcoin, peaks in regards to the rainbow chart? Are we seeing kind of downward action? Are we seeing it where it's now descending, where it's on a downtrend above the line, hits the line, well below the line? So this either indicates we are well below the line or there's another move up. We never really got into FOMO. And this lines up psychologically and emotionally with where I felt like the Bitcoin run was at. We never really hit that level of FOMO. We certainly never approached bubble territory. We only 3.5x the all-time high. That's not 18x was the last one. Okay. So you come here and you look and you judge where we're at right now. Well, right now we are basically in the accumulation zone, in between the still cheap and accumulate zone. So this would not be a bad time to try to accumulate, but I really think we need to we need to really judge what happens in the coming days. We have this here. This is the cbbi.info. I got this from Lewis Raskin on TikTok. What was his name before? Bitcoin for Beginners. That was a different channel. It was something about that. It used to be his channel, but now he just goes by his name, Lewis Raskin. You guys can check him out. Been a friend of mine for many years here. And on one of his TikTok videos, he was talking about this CBBI. This is the Bitcoin Bull Run Index. This comes from Colin Talks Crypto, which is kind of a research site. Confidence, we're at the peak. It's a 42. Come down here and you look at this, and it takes into consideration all of these different top indicators. So I really like this. It's kind of a composite score of top indicators. And you look here, every time Bitcoin peaked, the CBBI confidence was 100 that it was at the peak. If you go back to 2017, you go back to 2014, and you look here and you say, we didn't even get close to that. We didn't even get close to it. And like I said, we're going to look at this Bob Lucas tweet thread here in just a few minutes. That's going to, to me, one of the best Twitter threads I've read about what's currently going on. Actually, the best that I've read on what's going on. It really shows a lot of the, intellectual dishonesty going out there. And to be honest, as a person who's leading other people in crypto, it made me feel better. I think I've been a little too hard on myself. A guy at the gym told me yesterday, he's like, man, you sure were hard on yourself on the show today. Well, you want to know why we're hard on ourselves? Because we care deeply and tremendously about every person that watches this channel. And we want to lead you guys the absolute best way that we can lead you. If you don't get financial freedom and you're after it, then I've failed. That's the way that we feel. We take it that seriously. And so we're going to take a look at that in just a second. But real quick, just taking a look at this, the Bitcoin Pi Cycle Top Indicator. You look back 2013, 2014, you guys see we did have the Pi Cycle Top Indicator cross twice, which kind of led to a second run. I don't know over here if we're going to really see that. If you really look at to try to compare this high cycle top crossing, you see it didn't get very wide right here. It stayed pretty close, and then it crossed again, leading to another bull run, the part two. It's pretty wide right now. Doesn't look like they're really coming closer together. Actually, you can make the argument that they started to come close together, but now it is stretching out again. So very fascinating. And of course, if you're looking for indicators you can always look at the exchanges and the amount of crypto there. A lot of these Bitcoins are not moving, and so that's encouraging. So let's move on to this tweet here, because this is so phenomenal, okay? He says this, and I can certainly relate to this. With this Bitcoin decline, the trolls are out. Here's a long thread on the 4-year cycle, how we got here, and where we might be heading. First, back on November 29th, 2018, I published the first video. It was public. It was a few weeks from the bottom at $3,800. This is when he first started talking about the Bitcoin 4-year cycle. And I'm going to read this entire thing. Entire goal of the 4-year cycle was to buy bear market lows and do our best to get most of bull market to follow. Its time frame was multi-year, not month, week, day. It wasn't going to trade in and out. Its intention was to get people in just when everyone was capitulating. To trade a long time frame like this, it will not have the ability to time markets. It involves allowing for massive volatility. The exception would be and this is so key right here, guys, so key. The exception would be a massive mania bull blow off. In those cases, timing down to the day or the week is feasible. That was the hope. Sell the top. That's what we've been talking about forever on this channel. From the start, I said an allocation like 20% of net worth and hold. Don't get too deep. Various times along the way, add to your position. March 2020 was a great time to do it. From the early series of videos, I made it clear we're tracking a cycle possibility of reaching $200,000 based on prior cycle stuff we talked about at the beginning of the cycle. But it was very clear in that almost all scenario paths were valid. I even mentioned the possibility that it doesn't reach the prior $20,000 high, which I would have said was, not possible. There was never a promise of the highs, never a guarantee, and certainly was presented like it was a program model. It's also why in first model portfolio, I scheduled to take profit 15% at $18,000 in case it didn't make a new high. It was subsequently moved to $28,000. Investment was taken there, fast track forward to 2021. All was looking good and on track for the primary case. We had a frenzy move in early 2021 that fell short of being a blow off top. We had a great shakeout in June, followed by another good move in November. And here's where the Monday morning quarterbacks come out. Admit you're wrong. The cycle is invalidated. Blah, 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 blah. Here's the reality. Investing in an asset with a historical volume of 80, frequent 30 to 50% declines, and short periods of 400% runs is not easy. The goal of a 4-year model was not to worry about that volatility, to sit tight, invest early, and do our best to maximize the gain over the cycle. If we were to respond to every major decline, the portfolio on that time frame would be whipsawed. Great word. Getting out near 30 to 50% of declines. The opposite strategy was used, actually bought 3 of those drops because we were still in overall rising portion of the cycle. So here's the major question. People asking me as well. Why did we not sell at $69,000? Huge right here. This is huge. Again, absent of a major mania blow-off top, timing a top is near impossible. The longer-term trend was trending higher and the price above. I know you guys will point to somebody here or somebody there that called the top. Without the mania blow-off top, it's basically luck. They just happened to pick the one moment. You go back to Richard Hart saying $64,000 was the top. It wasn't right. It's close. Went up to 69K. Every Bitcoin cycle in history has had a major blow-off top, and that is when you can call the top. It's obvious. You got to push people in that direction when it looks like it's got no more steam, or it's going, whoop. We did not get that. We didn't get that at all, which makes it almost impossible to call the top of this cycle. Will we get it? We don't know. Excuse me. This brings us to today. As I outlined in the last video, I said 60-day cycle low at 40K should not be taken out and remaining a healthy market. So we would be hedging position there. Right now, the case is hedged. So is that a 4-year cycle top? Is it invalidated? Firstly, invalidated is a wrong term. Right now, it topped out at the original year 3 level. In any book, that is a right translated cycle. So did it top? The short answer is decent chance. And he says right here, if I could estimate, it would be 50-50. I have said 75-25. The reason is because I'm not taking only the charts into consideration. I'm taking the larger financial scheme of the United States and the world right now into that call. 75%. We get a reversal tomorrow from the Fed, then we can change, and it will probably go a little bit closer to 50-50. Right now, we're coming to a 60-day cycle low. That low for me becomes an important final line in the sand for this 4-year cycle. That's the $30,000 level I spoke of last video. Here are the 2 possibilities that he sees. And this looks just like the last cycle. The red line looks just like the red cycle's bottom. It moves over, down, and up. It looks like getting back to new all-time highs in early 2024. Now we have this other scenario to where basically we bounce up, we hit 69K, come back down, meet a new high, come back down, come back relatively high, not quite a new all-time high, before we go absolutely parabolic with our traditional blow-off top. These are the two scenarios. I don't see any other scenario other than this playing out. These are the exact two. I think it's probably 75%. We're facing the down one, but still 25%. We are going up. We just don't know. We're waiting for confirmation at this point, and that's why you've got to be paying more attention to crypto than ever before. You got to be paying more attention than ever right now. Don't take this time to retreat and run away and not look and not pay attention, because what's going on right now is absolutely extremely pivotal. So we'll have to see what happens. All right, moving on here. YouTube CEO hints at potential NFT features. Susan Wojcicki says that, not to be confused with Wojcicki, says the company is looking to help creators capitalize on emerging technologies. Wojcicki actually lives in this area. My sister's met her before. You guys know Wojcicki? Do you know Wojcicki?
Nope.
Too old, TJ. You're too old. Okay, so basically, Susan Wojcicki, she wrote a letter to YouTube. We're always focused on expanding the YouTube ecosystem to help creators capitalize on emerging technologies, including things like NFTs, while continuing to strengthen and enhance the experiences creators and fans have on YouTube. She says YouTube is looking to Web3 as a source of inspiration, specifically noting the opportunities with crypto, DAOs, and NFTs. So we don't exactly know 100% where this is heading to, but look for NFTs coming to YouTube. However, if you see NFTs on Twitter profiles, well, and you hate them, then there's great news for you. There's a browser plugin that auto blocks Twitter NFT profile pictures. What are your thoughts on this?
A browser plugin that auto blocks profile pictures?
NFT profile pictures.
That's a very specific use case. Who needs that?
Absolutely insane.
Yeah,
go
real
ahead.
quick, the YouTube thing, it said something about NFTs and DAOs.
Yes.
What did it say?
Well, it just said that they're interested in NFTs, DAOs, and Web3.
That's interesting. I mean, just like everybody, I guess. I'd be interested to see what they do with DAOs on YouTube. I've got some ideas, but it'll be interesting.
Made BitSquad a DAO.
Right.
There we go. Within 24 hours of launch of Twitter NFT or profile pictures for the iOS update, a GitHub contributor called McClure is coded up. I'm sure this guy gets lots of ladies. He's coded up and shared a browser extension that automatically blocks Twitter accounts using NFT profile picture. This guy definitely lives on Reddit. The program called NFT Blocker blocks paying subscribers of the Twitter Blue for iOS service who choose to display an NFT as their profile picture. So basically it goes into the settings of Twitter Blue and reads the ones that are using NFTs. The extension works with Chrome and Firefox on desktop, and while an early prototype, future versions of this plugin will scan your notifications to be blocking automatically. Imagine hating NFTs this much. It's one of those things where, like, if you hate something this much, you got to understand it's bound to make it. If you have to put so much attention on something like this, then I agree with this guy right here. Every single person laughing at NFTs today will be using them in 10 years. And he said some pretty interesting stuff in here. This piece of technology has the potential to revolutionize a lot of things in our daily digital lives. NFTs will be everywhere in our digital lives in less than a decade. And we do know that Gary Vee agrees with that. So does the Beatles. The Beatles, let's see. How many Beatles are still alive? 2? Ringo's still alive.
Yeah, and
Paul McCartney's still alive.
McCartney, yeah.
Is George Harrison still alive? Did he die?
I want to say he did. But
I think he did too. George Harrison, death. Yeah, he did die. So there's 2 out of 4 Beatles. And those Beatles and John Lennon's music history collection is going to be auctioned as NFTs. So going from, one of the greatest bands of all time, which I'm not a big fan of, to be honest with you, to someone I am a huge fan of, and an icon of parties, Paris Hilton says the metaverse will be the future of partying. How do you feel about this this picture from Cointelegraph?
yeah, it's not
flattering. You know who she looks like in this picture, kind of, is not necessarily in the face, but she reminds me of the mom from Ozark, Wendy.
Yeah, I can
Very
almost,
windy look.
that's almost like Paris Hilton mixed with Nicole Richie. You know, like
Oh yeah, good call on
it's
that.
like a combo there.
Yeah, the combo. I like it. But Paris Hilton says the metaverse will be the future of partying. I saw a TikTok of a girl talking about, what raves look like in the metaverse. And it was pretty lame. It was pretty lame. I got to be honest with you. I don't think the technology is there 100%. And a lot of people talking about Theta, right? We love Theta. We think it is the future of streaming. How that relates to they're basically already kind of doing what YouTube says they're doing. With what they're looking into with NFTs. We love Theta. We think Theta is a really good pick going forward. No question about it. So, all right, moving on here. Cardano infighting. What's going on here, guys? Cardano Project Sunday Swap and CardStarter squabble over failed promises to investors. Get your ish together, said Charles Hoskinson. Oh, man, I'd have to give him a demerit for using bad language. The ongoing drama between two projects built on the Cardano blockchain escalated across multiple social media platforms on Monday. This is exactly what Cardano needs. The issues began in April when accelerator program CardStarter, which we were invested in, we like CardStarter, announced it would launch its own DEX. Shortly thereafter, its founders incentivized investors to provide liquidity for the project on Uniswap in exchange for native CSwap tokens. Platform's developers laid an agreement with a third-party DEX called Sunday Swap sometime later, marketing the deal as a merger in June. As per the agreement, CardStarter would no longer develop its promised DEX and would instead provide liquidity to the existing Sunday Swap DEX. Now, I got to say, for the CSwap holders, that doesn't sound too sexy, but for the overall Cardano community, I think this is probably better, right? To have more concentrated effort and more liquidity on one DEX, I think is probably a better proposition. But as told by Reddit user Environmental Law 768, investors were later promised great benefits during a YouTube AMA for CSwap holders in the Sunday Swap DEX. Last week, however, it was revealed these so-called benefits would simply be a conversion from CSwap to CARDS tokens at a rate of 400 to 1. Holders who had locked in $15 million worth of liquidity on the platform seemed to feel this was a slap in the face, amounting to no meaningful reward for their effort. And here we go, low IQ again. You guys want to see low IQ crypto people? Allegations of a rug pull soon followed. Guys, this is not a rug pull. A rug pull is when someone pulls all the liquidity from a DEX and you're left holding the bag. You're getting a conversion here. I think it's very important that we understand what a rug pull is and we stop calling things like maybe a marketing scheme or what I think this more likely is, just a plan gone wrong, plan that didn't work.
A failed project.
A failed project.
Yeah.
Let's call that what it is. Everybody is not out here trying to steal your money like people think. I know that's how it feels in a bear market, but that's not quite right. You can certainly call this a scam or a scheme if you want to call it, but it's certainly not a rug pull. Okay, so let's be clear about that. But here they are, more CardStarter talking about what's going on with the CSwap community. But to make matters worse, the freshly launched Sunday Swap DEX has already suffered from numerous user reports of failed transactions. Because we never see failed transactions on decentralized exchanges. I've never had an Ethereum failed transaction. Have you, TJ?
Tons.
People. But during a YouTube stream Monday afternoon, Cardano founder Hoskinson condemned the heated exchange between the parties. People, please get your ish together. Both sides come together, agree to arbitration, talk to each other, and figure out whatever the hell you agree to get done. If you can't somehow survive the arbitration process, courts are always available to you. So how about that? Charles coming down hard as the disciplinarian here in the Cardano infighting. So pretty interesting stuff. Let's talk about Russia here briefly. Russian finance minister official calls for crypto regulation, not restriction. In surprising comments made by the Russian director for financial policy, Russia could be softening its stance towards crypto. Ivan Chepskov, a director within the Ministry of Finance, has come out in support of regulating crypto rather than banning it. Now, look, is this a reversal when it comes to FUD around crypto? We saw mining bans. We saw, everybody banning crypto over the summer and then reversing. Is this what this is? A part of a bigger play? We need to give these technologies the opportunity to develop. In this regard, the Ministry of Finance is actively involved in the development of legislative initiatives in terms of regulating this market. Comments were made during the RBC, I think that's the Russian Central Bank crypto conference taking place on Tuesday. Telegram CEO Pavel Durov, for example, wrote that the proposed ban on crypto would destroy a number of sectors of the high-tech economy in a post on his messaging application Telegram. It's very important. Like, we are in a land of competition when it comes to blockchain and crypto. You don't want to cut your nose off to spite your face. Georgian citizens. I live in Georgia. I'll be honest with you. No one made me do this. Georgian citizens were made to swear an oath to stop mining crypto. Did you have to do that, TJ?
I didn't. I'm still mining.
Weird.
Don't tell
Obviously,
anybody.
this is the country of Georgia, not the state. I tell you what, in Georgia, we support the 28th Amendment that we can crypto mine. Okay, support the Second Amendment, 28th Amendment.
Thanks straight.
Some of the others, they might be great. I don't know them in detail to throw them all out, but those are definitely two of my favorites. I'll tell you that much. Top Bitcoin mining country Kazakhstan turned off the internet amid protests. So pretty fun stuff. This is another article about that. Russia should regulate crypto market, not ban it, says Finnan official. So this is kind of the same story. Britain accuses this guy of carrying out an assassination of an ex-KGB officer. I don't know how that's relevant, but that's pretty fun. High regulators team up to issue guidelines on digital asset payments. But the problem is they tried to vote on it, and it always ended up in a tie. Bank of America says stablecoin adoption and CBDCs are inevitable. We've told you that before. CBDCs are coming. If you want to know how you're going to buy your cup of coffee, that's it. You're going to be buying your cup of coffee with a CBDC. Now, just remember, countries like Russia and China are not the only ones that are, coming down hard on crypto and being unfair, even though, Russia reversed it a little bit. Apparently, the founder of Uniswap had his account taken by JP Morgan, and you got this guy defending the banks and saying, well, they must have done something wrong. Just a reminder to you guys, I had a bank account from BB&T I had for 20 years shut down because they did a Coinbase wire to my bank account to buy a house. So remember, countries, not your friend. Banks, not your friends. This bank thing, the longer you stay in crypto, the more you really begin to understand that they really control the world. They're the ones that make the world go round, and they are very, very, very bad people. All right, let's go and jump to Q&A here. We got probably 5 minutes where I got to jump off and go do my Cheddar TV interview.
Yeah, we'll keep it brief. First question was from early in the show. You might have kind of already touched on this. Are you worried about the conflicts in Ukraine? I think that's supposed to say, if Russia attack war is never good for the stock market or crypto in the past. Basically, do you think this is going to happen, this war?
I don't think it's going to happen. I think we've seen a lot of posturing from Russia and Ukraine over the years. If you guys remember the big, Crimea incident, there wasn't really any, look, here's the thing. We all got nuclear weapons pointing at each other. Obviously, we have a very, very extremely weak president who knows what would do if push came to shove. But the fact is, on some level, at some point, I mean, we're not letting Russia just run amok and take over countries. I don't know who would really back us up in that. I don't know if military action. I mean, I always think it's so funny. Like, all right, we are drawing a line in the sand here, Russia, but we won't resort to military action. Like, right. Why do you take that? Why do you just say, like, we're definitely not going to do this? But I just think ultimately Russia is always posturing. They're always posturing. They're kind of like, the way that you fight a bear, right? The way that you fight a bear, you get real big, you hold your arms up, you try to look as big as possible. That's Russia for you, They're known as the Russian bears, right? Because that's what they like to do. They like to look real big. They like to look real tough. They like to come out and take, unique stances. But I ultimately do not believe that they're going to push that envelope and they are going to, go into military, actions. It's a lot of building up troops. There's a lot of looking like we're going to do this. But, when's the last time we had a major country, do some kind of, boundary crossing? I think it's been a while. So I think if you go back to the stuff with Syria, probably us in Syria, you'd say it's probably the last time. So, and people really didn't want to defend them either. So I just don't think that's what we're going to see, to answer your question.
Eric Carlson, is Cosmos not dropping as much because of the time to unbond staked Atom? I would say probably not.
Well, it did, but it did fall out of the channel that it was in. I mean, it did, if you look at Atom. Let's check it out real quick. Take a quick look here at that. Where's it in? Like the 20s, somewhere around there.
And the main reason I would say no is there's other projects that had, high staking lockup too that did fall. It's probably, when something's going up and everything else is going down, the day traders are looking for anything they can bail into. So if it's on enough exchanges, that can give it some volume sometimes. But I think ultimately it did end up getting hit.
It did, but it is down considerably less than other stuff. I think, Cosmos is just kind of on that layer 1 pump right now. We see a lot of this cyclical pumps, a lot of these cyclical pumps coming for these layer 1 projects, and it felt like it was Cosmos's time. Unfortunately, as it was making new all-time highs and moving forward, we had the gigantic Bitcoin crash. It's overall bad for it. So really, how high can it go? It's probably impacted by the Bitcoin fall. But I do think, the time of the, the unbonded atoms or Cosmos atom, or whatever you want to say there, could have to do with it. There's certainly timing things that, can affect projects from dropping or not. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all we have time for. Let's get that Cheddar interview.
Yeah, going to go ahead and head to that. So everybody, thank you so much for sticking around, watching the channel. Been a great show today. Can't wait to come back on tomorrow. We'll be leaving tomorrow afternoon after the show, heading out to Austin. We got our meetup on Thursday night. Really excited about that. So Thursday we'll be live streaming remote, Thursday and Friday. That's all I got. Be blessed. Boy out.